I was out visiting a woman named Joanne, and I admit to you, I was whining. I said, Joanne, we can't sell our house. It's been on the market for 2 months. A month and a half into it, we bought another house. I don't know what we're going to do. She looked at me and she said, have you tried a St. Joseph's? Now, I had tried a St. Pauli's girl. But I had no idea what she's talking about. I said, what are you talking about? She said, have you tried burying a statue of St. Joseph in your yard? Now, let me come clean. I was raised Methodist. I am Presbyterian. I am not Catholic savvy. I don't get the whole saint thing. I don't understand why we have saints. I don't understand who decides. I don't know what the criteria are. All I know is I grew up in the country, in the middle of the Appalachian Mountains, and the only saint I ever heard growing up was every once in a while my neighbor Charlie would look at his mail and go, "Saint mine." So I'm just not getting this whole thing. And I said, what are you talking about? And she reached around the shelf and she pulled out this little statue of St. Joseph. She said, if you bury this in your yard, it'll help you sell your house. I'm thinking, great, now we've moved into voodoo. She said, no, when I went to move in with my daughter, my cousin's Catholic, he sent me this statue. I buried it in my yard. 2 weeks later, my house sold. So she gave it to me. So I took this thing home. I said to my wife, you won't believe what Joanne wants us to do. She wants us to bury this in our yard. And my wife said to me, and what do we have to lose? So I'm fine. So next morning, it's like 5 a.m. I'm in my yard. I bury this thing and run back in the house. I kid you not. 1 week to the day, my house sold. Well, I took that thing back to Joanne. I said, you won't believe what happened. She said, I know what happened. So you know how it takes like 2 months to go through all the paperwork and everything for a house and all the inspections and closing? Well, after about 2 months, we finally move into my new house. First weekend I'm in the new house, I'm doing some yard work. Y'all getting ahead of me. So I'm mowing the grass, I'm trimming the bushes, I'm putting down mulch, when all of a sudden my rake hit something in the mulch. And I got down on my hands and knees, and there, buried in the yard of my new house, were the remains of a human body. Not really, but wouldn't that have been a good story? That would have been a good story. It was a St. Joseph statue, buried in. My wife and I joked that we'd been sainted. Well, we took that thing and we washed it off. We put it on the windowsill above our sink. It is in our kitchen today. If you were to come to our house, you'd see it. We told everybody we knew about this. We thought this was hilarious. 2 months later, I get a letter from my sister. In the letter from my sister is a page ripped right out of Reader's Digest. This was what was on that page. I've just retyped it so I can read it easier. It was contributed by a guy named Steve Spolio. It said, when we decided to sell our home, many friends suggested that if we planted a statue of St. Joseph in the yard, it would facilitate a quick sale. But when we asked for specifics about the superstition, we got conflicting directions. Some said it should be buried upside down, facing away from the house in the front yard. Others said just the opposite. So not wanting to spoil my chances, I frequently moved the statue around the yard. Feeling disappointed and foolish, the months passed, but our house never sold. Feeling disappointed and foolish, I tossed the statue into a bag that was picked up at the curbside and trucked to the town landfill. A few weeks later, I was reading the local paper and noticed the headline, "Town sells landfill."